but it was a character. I played the guy that was free from concern so that people who watched me would be free from concern.
My favorite funny face is the one I'm wearing right now.
This entire video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe everything you hear or see. These are just theories, not facts, for context. With that being said, let's dive in.
You know, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy, but you know, it's then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes and I was like a novice, but I felt a lot of love and I felt a lot of appreciation that I tried, and what I said was true, and I really wanted to recognize my family. I wanted to recognize my dad. I mean, my dad was the type of person that if you met him for 5 minutes, you felt like you knew him for 50 years. You know? I can't talk about him without getting emotional. Oh, loved it. It's so beautiful. And having Michelle.
I can't keep defending you, Jimmy! I can't keep defending you! What is going on? Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Jim Carrey, man. I've been defending people saying, you know, he's a fallen angel. I was there defending you, Jimmy. I can't keep defending you. This is not a good look. Okay? I'm gonna be honest. Maybe he just got a little Botox. Okay? You know? But I've never seen him act like this. His eye color changed. Look at his forehead. I can't keep defending you, Jimmy. What have they done to you?
I wasn't going to do it, but the eye colours being different. Now, I know you can get lenses and contact lenses that change the eye colour, but listen to this guy's speech recently in the French Awards, and I feel like he's trying to tell us something.
Oh, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like...
I've never seen Jim act that nonchalant. You know he's just full of energy. You about to know he about to do something goofy, man. This is too regular. This is not Jim, unfortunately, guys. You're talking to someone that's watched him since Living Color, grew up watching Ace Ventura, Cable Man. I had Ace Ventura on repeat my entire childhood. I loved that movie. Dumb and Dumber. Who can forget? If you truly are a fan of Jimmy, you are definitely feeling the way I'm feeling, man. This is like, it's hard to grasp. It is. I'm not gonna lie.
Crazy, but you know, it's then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their...
I mean, Jim Carrey's been trying to tell us for a while. A long while. And undoubtedly we know that Jim Carrey has a really good way of sending a message of truth to humanity that genuinely wakes people up. And let's not forget he plays numerous roles where he gets the power of God. Have you ever noticed his initials? JC? Jesus Christ? But most importantly, the question in hand right now is, for me, these eyes. Why would Jim Carrey just decide to change his pupils on a time where he's going onto the world stage looking very different? I mean, we all remember...
You don't know what it is. You don't know what that is. I have no idea. You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David...
We seen this. Jimmy, come out and tell us. As much as you try to expose the industry, Jimmy, just come out and tell us what's going on. Address the issue. I know you can. Jimmy, if you just type in YouTube, everybody's talking about it. Just have a public disclosure on your Instagram. Make a reel or something. Explain to us what's going on, Jimmy. We can't keep defending you.
But Letterman doesn't know. We don't know. All the comics and show business don't know what this is. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, the all-mocking tongue. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. Look at them trying to tell me that. It's hilarious. Hilarious. You know what they're trying to do? Who? They're trying to turn us into, consumer drones of some sort. I just got to get this. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was temporarily interrupted by my iPhone 6 Plus.
I mean,
Is that what really happened? Was he trying to literally warn us this entire time and it finally hit him? It makes me think of the movie Get Out, but except they got Jim Carrey. It's Botox or something, man. It's not Fire Marshal Bell.
if you haven't watched this movie for a while, go and watch it, because I can guarantee you now, it will wake you up.
I don't exist. So they're all characters that I played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters. Jim Carrey was a less intentional character, because I thought I was just building something that people would like, but it was a character. I played the guy that was free from concern so that people who watched me would be free from concern.
My favorite funny face is the one I'm wearing right now. Very looking and acting differently, and me maybe being the world authority on Jim Carrey. I thought maybe I'd resurrect some of my old videos showing how Jim played Joe. But first, let's watch this character in a mask playing Jim Carrey.
Oh my gosh, one that pops to mind all the time is, I don't know what the French name is, it's the Untouchables with Omar Sy.
Now, they'll try to sell you on cloning and soul swapping and nonsense like that, but it's just a prosthetic mask. And I'll show you. Because they've done it before. Because now Jim is actually playing a new role, Walton Goggins. So they have someone else playing Jim. And enjoy the evidence for those of you that have never seen my old videos. Does Jim Carrey play Joe Biden part of the time? And I'm not talking Saturday Night Live, talking real life. By the end of this video, I think if you don't think so right now, there might be a little part, at least a little part of you that just might agree with me. Let's start with this. We all know he is a physical comedian, but just watch this.
Options were limited.
You won't be seeing much more physical humor in my show. I want to go way back now. Will be. Green. You don't scare me anymore. Ow!
Okay, so you get the idea. He falls a lot. He falls a lot for comedy. But did you ever notice who else falls a lot? And hey, they kind of look like, in fact, that might even look a little bit more like Jim Carrey than Jim Carrey looks like Jim Carrey in this. That's Joe Biden. I'll show you. It sure looks a lot like Jim Carrey to me, and that's supposed to be Biden getting off the helicopter. They even have similar walks and forward head postures. Do you see it? I see it. Similar length arms in comparison to their knees. And we know how Hollywood likes to put things in plain sight. We also know they do a ton of predictive programming. This Simpsons was 15 years before this, even to the sign falling down. Predictive programming.
I'm free on the 7th at 7.
Did you see it? I saw one thing at first. Watch the timing of his hand. Timing of his hands. And then watch. You'll see it. Watch. I sync it up here. Ready? There it is. Watch. Yep. And the hands. Timed up at the same time. The hands at the same time. That's Jim Carrey. That is Jim Carrey. I'm going to show you more.
I see what he's saying. He's not really grabbing the rail. He's just lightly touching the rail. I do kind of see a similarity there.
Okay, here it is. The full clip. You'll see he salutes and he puts his hand up twice, just like we saw in the movie Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey. And then tell me this isn't Jim Carrey's comedic falling. There's no way Joe Biden is this quick on his feet and moves. And watch how he does this little jog. The salute at the end here. It is Jim Carrey. And I'm going to show you more stuff. Carrey. Did you ever see this clip where it looks like Biden's wearing a mask? Again, truth in plain sight. We all know that he did the movie The Mask. Could they have been trying to tell us something? I think so. I saved my best work for last. Enjoy the editing.
Second. I'm not ready for this, man. I am not ready for this. I ain't got my boy Jim, man. Unbelievable.
I'll point him out as we go. Watch the arm timing.
I'll hold you to it.
I'm free on the 7th. That's 7.
The synchronicity, it's too much to be a coincidence.
7. That's 7.
Hand railing.
What he means by the handrail action is, myself, when I use the handrail, I kind of have like everyone has their rhythm of going upstairs, and I kind of like pull the side rail as I walk. You can see people's similarities on the handrail, and it does look kind of similar. I see where he's getting at.
Reach to the top.
It's not a coincidence, guys. It's not. Even the blue doorways here. Come on. What do you think the chances are? 1 out of 100? Maybe 1 out of 1,000,000? As long as you're telling me there's a chance, I'm okay with it. And as always, this was pure entertainment. Just satire. I don't really think these guys are the same.
Quick. Thank you so much.
I'm so late.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to see you.
The
Grinch is one of my favorite movies. Can I see this?
Thanks, guys.
Thank
One,
you.
sorry.
Have a good night.
We're short for time.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Quick. Thank you so much.
Yeah, something seems off. And also, people are saying Jim is left-handed. Why is he writing with his right? What is going on with y'all boy Kai Cenat? If you don't know him, he's like one of the biggest, next to Speed. He's like one of the biggest streamers. I believe that's Jaden Smith from what was it, Karate Kid with Jackie Chan. I actually like that movie, man. I don't know what's going on in this red room with him yelling like death.
You doing? Nice to meet you.
Drop your thoughts on below. What's going on here?
Scientists are using AI to hack Wi-Fi routers to see you in your home like a camera.
So what they did is they had, a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, like, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router into a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings.
No real cameras, no microphones required, just the invisible waves bouncing around your house right now, watching you breathe, move, and even sleep. And the scariest part, you wouldn't even know it's happening. Wi-Fi routers don't just send out internet, they send out radio waves that bounce off everything in your house. Your walls, furniture, your own body. Every time you move, even just slightly, those waves change. They bend, scatter, and reflect differently. And now AI can read that change and that chaos like a book. Thanks to breakthroughs in machine learning, scientists have trained models to analyze these patterns and reconstruct your physical movement, your position, your posture, using nothing but Wi-Fi data. This isn't a conspiracy theory, this is peer-reviewed science. MIT created a system called RF Pose, which can track people through walls. Carnegie Mellon University used 2 off-the-shelf routers to create silhouette images of people moving in a room. Other researchers show this can be done with an almost 100% accuracy. Again, no camera needed, just your Wi-Fi. This is the kind of thing that just decades ago was military grade. Now it's just software and some smart routers. Of course, publicly the narrative is a little different. Researchers say that this tech could be used for elderly care, detecting falls or health emergencies, which it could be, to be fair. Sleep monitoring, tracking breathing patterns or movement, both of which it can do. And security systems, spotting intruders even if the cameras are off. But here's the big catch with this. You wouldn't know it's happening. And that's where things get dicey. This tech doesn't need your permission. It doesn't need a camera lens or a microphone, just a Wi-Fi signal and someone with the right software. Imagine a world where your landlord can track when you're home, or a hacker can watch your movements through your own walls. Or worse, governments use it for passive surveillance, saying, hey, we didn't record anything. We know that's not far off. In fact, patents from big tech companies have already hinted at using Wi-Fi for non-contact monitoring and surveillance programs. They love anything that leaves no trace. And if they're patenting it, you know they plan on using it. So how do you stop it? Honestly, you can't. Not easily. The only way would be to completely shut off your Wi-Fi or wrap your house in a Faraday cage. And let's be real, that's not happening. We're heading into a future where every signal is a sensor. Where your internet doesn't connect you, it watches you. This is the kind of tech that changes the rules. It blurs the line between convenience and control, between connection and surveillance. So what will you do? Switch off the internet, go dark, or just allow this to happen?
Well, it would be to go off grid, complete an entire, what's it called? Where you're off grid, homestead. There it is. Create a homestead, have you a garden, have all your DVDs already downloaded, and all your favorite movies on, DVD, and then you wouldn't really need the internet, have all your games, favorite video games offline, you really wouldn't need the Wi-Fi then, would you?
According to NASA themselves, the moon is in the exosphere. It's in the outermost layer of our atmosphere, of Earth's atmosphere. So it's not in outer space, and that's a whole nother video. but this is a picture of Venus passing in front of the moon. So Venus, a planet that is much, much farther than the exosphere is said to be, is passing in front of a celestial body within the exosphere. So this obviously doesn't make sense according to NASA's logic. So you ask why it's happening according to NASA. They start explaining that the moon is actually hiding Venus. So the AI is regurgitating NASA, and it's telling me that Venus is actually going behind the moon. Now, from our perspective. Now, obviously this is not happening. So I said, it's not the moon passing in front of Venus from our perspective. It's Venus passing in front of the moon from our perspective. And then it literally says, I get why you're saying that. The photo looks exactly like Venus is crossing in front of the moon. But here's the key thing. According to NASA, that scenario cannot physically happen. Why Venus cannot pass in front of the moon? NASA's position is unambiguous. Venus is tens of millions of miles farther away than the moon. The moon is only about 240,000 miles away. Because of this enormous distance difference, Venus can never physically cross in front of the moon from the Earth's perspective. So even if your eyes or camera make it look like Venus is in front, NASA explains that this is a projection illusion. Not an actual foreground crossing. So the funniest thing is that when NASA's completely wrong about something, they start telling you that something is an illusion. When Venus appears to touch or overlap the moon, it is always behind the moon, never in front. The illusion of Venus being on top of or in front of the moon happens because Venus is extremely bright. Venus has not yet reached the moon's actual edge. You just can't see that edge. So they're saying that we can't see this edge, okay? Now, even with this shitty camera, you can see the edge right there. It's clear. Exactly where the edge is. And Venus is right on top, within this circumference. Venus is not that far away. Venus is closer to Earth than the moon is. According to NASA,
is it just me, or is the crescent on the moon just off? It's like it's at the bottom now versus where it normally is on the side. Maybe I'm tripping, but did you guys notice that?
Anybody notice the moon phase? Has anybody looked up from their cell phones lately? Have you looked in the sky? When have you ever seen a half moon where it's lit on the bottom of a freaking moon? Google it. Look at what the moon phases are supposed to be. And look at what you're seeing now. Something's shifted. You might want to look up. By the way, has anybody noticed the moon phase?
I have.
Your energy is so strong. Vibrate so high that anybody that's wishing to do evil upon you, it shall be revealed. Vibrate so high that any evil entity feels uncomfortable in your presence. Vibrate so high that strangers come up to you and compliment you. Vibrate so high that people want to be around you because you actually heal them. Vibrate so high that anybody that wishes to do harm towards you shall perish. Vibrate so high that anybody that has evil intentions shall get revealed. Vibrate so high that you heal the earth. Vibrate so high that you heal your community. Vibrate so high that you heal the world. Vibrate high.
The income tax is a part of Social Security under 7203 of Title 26. So what's happened here is we join Social Security voluntarily. Then the net result of Social Security is the requirement that we file and pay an income tax. And when the federal income tax was launched back in 1913, the tax was levied on only the super wealthy, the richest 0.5% of the population, with a top tax rate of 7%. Today, of course, the fears of the early opponents of the tax have been more than fully realized. And by the end of Herbert Hoover's term, the top rate had jumped to 60%. And by the time Franklin Roosevelt was done, the top rate was over 90%. And the tax had been dramatically expanded to seize the incomes of the middle class for the first time. In 1913, the average family had to work until January 30th before earning enough to satisfy the tax man at all levels. This year, the average American family will work until May 12th. Well, for example, if you buy a $10 pizza in order to celebrate being done with the IRS for another year, the tax man will be right there to grab 2 slices. Because on top of paying the sales tax, you'll also be picking up a major chunk of what the government charges the pizza shop owner for his local property taxes, unemployment insurance taxes, federal payroll taxes, federal, state, and local income taxes, workers' compensation taxes, and altogether, according to a study by the Americans for Tax Reform, that's $3.80 on a $10 pizza.
I know now is not the best time to talk about pizza, but let me enjoy my slice I paid for.
Now, if you pick up a 6-pack of Bud to go with the pizza, that's another 43 cents on every beer dollar that goes straight to the tax man for excise taxes. Let's say you want to drink Jack Daniels. Well, the tax man's share is $7.20 on that $10 bill. That's 75% tax. If you want to go lighter and just drink Pepsi-Cola, then the tax is only 35%, or about half what it is for Jack Daniels. A recent study by Price Waterhouse shows that there are 30 different taxes imposed on the production and sale of a loaf of bread, which is 27% of the average retail price.
Keep in mind, when they said in Revelations, I believe, it said when an entire day's wage costs a loaf of bread, that's when something's about to hit the fan. And we're almost there, if you ask me. They taxing us 27% for a loaf of bread, you know?
When you buy new tires, it's 36% that goes to the tax man. On the price of a new car, an Americans for Tax Reform study shows.
You think I just made that up? Fire Marshal Bill, let me show you something. And I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's wage, will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine.
That the total taxes reach 45% of the showroom sticker price. Now, I can remember my dad buying a 1955 Chevrolet automobile for $2,500 cash in 1955. Now those cars cost...
I bet you it costs money now. If he still had it, it'd probably be worth 10 times the amount as that.
$20,000, and half the price of it, well, 45%, half the price, $10,000, is in taxes. Think of that. At the start of this nation's unique experiment with individual sovereignty and limited government, taxation without representation was tyranny. It was the watchword of the American Revolution. For our founding fathers, a level of taxation of only a few cents on the dollar siphoned off to a faraway and arrogant bureaucracy was enough to ignite a revolution. It was enough to grab the trusty musket off the wall. Well, Social Security is going to pay you $800 a month, or about $70,000 if you're single. Now, if you're married, you get a little more. Now, you'd think, ladies, that if your husband's going to get $805, that you ladies ought to get $805, but you don't. You only get $1,350. But if you divorce that clout, you'd get the full $805. Then you'd have $1,610 if you just lived together in sin. The income tax is a part.
Oh Lord! You know who used to hate it? Let me full screen this. You know who used to hate taxation? Peter. I used to go to sleep watching the Jesus of Nazareth. What was it? 1966. You would just type in Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus of Nazareth. Was it 1977? Yeah, that was it. Jesus of Nazareth, 1977. It's free on YouTube, by the way. And I used to watch this for like 6 months straight, guys. I used to go to sleep. It's free on YouTube right now. I used to go to sleep and watch this for 6 months straight. You know it was the right video when you start hearing that horn play in the beginning. But anyways, I watched this for 6 months straight, and Peter used to always hate taxation. That's probably where it's a 6 hour long movie. Keep in mind, it's 6 or 8 hours. I don't remember. But I used to always, fall asleep watching this. And I remember so far into it, Peter used to hate taxation, didn't he? Peter did not mess around with taxation. If you watch this movie, drop it in the comments below. I believe it was free on YouTube. It might still be if you haven't seen it. It's about 8 hours long, but hey, it's a New Testament.
This clip is said to be a leaked recording from a whistleblower, supposedly filmed on August 10th, 1993 in Norman, Oklahoma, showing two tall gray alien beings walking past a camera. It's never been verified or proven to be a hoax, but it most certainly seems fake. But it does raise one question. If figures like these showed up in your backyard, what would you do? This clip is said to be a leak.
After thinking about it, knowing that they're demons, you might want to approach with caution, to say the least.
But what it is you can't handle a parallel realm that's living amongst us. And if your eyes were open and you saw what's all around us and you saw why your family freaks out and why you don't understand yourself. If you saw all this parallel world, that's why God hid it. He caused the realms to be separated so that we can't see the spirit realm, and unless the Spirit of God allows us to see into that realm. So if you want to know what's going on in this country, you have to be able to handle the fact that in Genesis chapter 6, Satan, the only way he could hijack the human race was to get into their genetics and to interbreed and then get human beings to disqualify themselves because they weren't fully human. Okay, so now in Nimrod, in the Nimrod days, Nimrod was one of these hybrids. He was like Goliath. It says he was a Hagaborim, with a mighty one, just like Goliath was. And when he came into power, it says that he was a mighty hunter before the Lord, is what it says in King James. Well, that's wrong. It says he was a hunter of man. He was a hunter of men. He built walled cities to keep men in. He was Satan himself. This is Antichrist. Nimrod is the Antichrist spirit. So he became Gilgamesh. He escaped.
You mean that? You guys all know what I'm talking about. You mean that tomb that they found that Hillary Clinton was trying to hide, and that they were trying to get that tomb that was actually Nimrod? They might have found Nimrod's tomb, y'all. That's all I'm saying. For entertainment purposes only, they might have already found Nimrod's tomb.
To Ur, And so God called Abraham out of Ur and made a nation against this Antichrist spirit. Why is nobody saying any of this stuff? So Gilgamesh was Nimrod. Nimrod was deified.
We were saying that 2 years ago. Gilgamesh was Nimrod.
He was a mason. He was a mason. He built the Tower of Babel. He was the first mason. He put his initial, Gilgamesh, G, in his symbol. Mystery Babylon, as Book of Revelation says. So I don't understand why there's all these controversies and why people are fighting each other. It's just pretty plain to me. And Mystery Babylon is a mystery for one reason. We need to get out of diapers and get rid of bottles before we can handle this kind of stuff. Whether you're first degree or 33rd degree, and if there's a 34th degree like former presidents, then I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It's all wrong. It's all part of the plan of Satan to take over the earth completely by entrapping human beings. The only reason that you're not entrapped is because you believe in Jesus Christ and he bought you. Amen. Okay.
Gilgamesh is Nimrod. It's time for the specimen of the day, isn't it? If you thought you weren't going to get another excellent specimen of the day today, think again, bucko! How yours it? What we got here, man? We got an amethyst, man. Amethyst on a pedestal with a... I don't know, man. It's from India, okay? It looks like we got a geode inside of it with some type of light purple octahedral protruding out of this geode. What would I call this? I would call it the purple mitten. Call it the purple mitten, and let's give it a 8.5. What would you call it? And name it down in the comments below.
These coins prove that Jesus already came back and had his 1,000-year reign and ruled in New Jerusalem above all people. And when he comes back again in New Jerusalem, to tell us he's aliens. Now, I urge you to go watch my other video that I already made saying that this was going to happen, that they're about to say aliens are real within the next few weeks. And what do we know? They're about to say that aliens are real, and Obama just said they were real, and Trump is about to do this. So why are they doing this? It's because Jesus is about to come back again in New Jerusalem, like Revelation 27-10 says. We surround the camp of the saints and also New Jerusalem. And if you look very closely at these coins, they're all from the times of Jesus, 1,000 years before this date. And what is that date? That date.
We don't know that, though. You know, people always say we in a 1,000-year reign. Do we really know that, though? I know people are like, Chuck, we do know we're in a 1,000-year reign. Okay, I hear you. But how do you really know, though? Did he really come back? Can you really look at yourself in the mirror and be like, he already came back?
It is 1776. So these coins 1,000 years before 1776 were all telling us something about 1776. And we know these coins are from the 1,000 years of Jesus because when you look at the datings, they have the letter I in front of them, which stands for Jesus, which is Jesus in Latin and Greek. And go watch my other videos where I touch on the topic more of the datings and the buildings. But all these buildings also have with the letter J, and then it'd be 687 years and 1,000 years of Jesus. NOD for Anno Domini, AD, and then the I again for Jesus. And I need you guys to truly understand that if these coins are actually from 1,000 years of Jesus, why are they all pointing to a future date, which is 1776? Maybe they're trying to tell us something. And on all maps, you can see Tartaria and then Tierra.
If you really think he already came back, please drop it in the comments below. What compelled you to think about that? Drop it layer by layer, like how it said in the book of Isaiah. We drop things layer by layer, precept upon precept. You gotta drop it down layer by layer if you really think he already came back. I want to know.
The Isu, which stands for Land of Jesus. And I believe that the reason why the president wants Greenland, right, and it's just for whatever reason, it's because it's the closest continent to this land of Jesus. And in Revelation 27-10, it says, we surround the camp of the saints, but also surround the camp of, surround New Jerusalem. And if New Jerusalem is in the magnetic North Pole, you have to surround it with Greenland. And we see that the magnetic North Pole is shifting from Canada to Siberia. It says New Jerusalem and the camp of the saints will be surrounded by Gog and Magog. And historically, Gog and Magog is in the Caucasus region, which is modern day Siberia. In the
I believe we're waiting on the battle of Gog and Magog. If you believe it already happened, we are waiting on the battle of Gog and Magog. If you think the 1,000-year already didn't happen, you'd believe the battle of Gog and Magog already happened. Where's the proof?
craziest part is not only biblically does Ezekiel tell us that the Caucasus/Siberia region today is Gog and Magog, but the Geneva Bible, which confirms Jesus came back, and you guys could read that, also confirms that Gog and Magog is the North, Asian and Russian area. As you can see, Gog and Magog are whom Josephus in the Antiquities of Jews confirms this, called Scythians, a very cruel people which came from Japheth, and that's the verse you can read from. And as you can see, it says that Gog is the prince or the ruler, and then Magog is the nation, and it is Caucasus or modern day Siberia. So essentially, they're going to be surrounding the North Pole, which we know is New Jerusalem and Jesus, which is why we have Northern Lights, which are God's throne room. It's in the North Pole, and now they have every continent that surrounds this. Okay, that's why they had to get rid of Tartaria. That is why they need Greenland. That is why they had to get rid of the descendants of the 1,000 years of Jesus and Russia. Okay, the Tsar family, the Romanovs. That was, go watch my other video on that, on the bells. That was people from the 1,000 years of Jesus. They had to get rid of all of those things so they can finally surround the camp of the saints. So when they tell us aliens are here, do not fight, do not do anything. Don't listen to them, okay? And also, I urge you guys to go watch my digital currency videos and my gold and silver videos, because I do believe that before this happens, they need to create a one world government and digital currency so that we can already be together, so that coming together for aliens it's not already absurd. It's already in a system, and it's very easy to do, because they wouldn't want to scramble everybody who's already divided and then make them come together right before the big battle. Okay, so please watch those other videos and understand that there's a sequence of things that happens before this happens. Renaissance age was not real and was made to hide the 1,000 years of Jesus, and Archangel Michael was probably Michelangelo, and Leonardo da Vinci was probably Lucifer. Now, if you need proof Jesus came back, I'd recommend to watch all my other videos because they detail how he came back. This is just talking about the Renaissance. But for us to understand this video, you need to understand that Jesus had his 1,000-year reign, and that is why these buildings will be dated with the letter J and then 3 numbers after. It would be saying 687 years and 1,000 years of Jesus, and then an I, which stands for Jesus, which is Jesus in Latin and Greek, and an Anno Domini, which
a lot of people bring it to my attention that it already didn't happen. I'm not 100% convinced yet, but I'm not just completely saying it didn't. But I believe we're all on the same side here. So I'm trying to figure this out so I can have a conclusive projection on this and be able to tell people, but I cannot confidently tell anyone that the 1,000-year reign already didn't happen. Do I think it's critical for our salvation? No. So it really doesn't take precedence in whether it happened or not, but it is interesting to hear people's thoughts on this, saying that it already didn't happen.
which is AD, which stands for Year of Our Lord in Latin. And I believe the 1300s was when the 1,000-year reign of Jesus ended, because that would have been 1,260 years after Jesus came back. And in Revelation, the two witnesses prophesied 1,260 days. Tribulation is 1,260 days times 2. The temple falls 1,260 days in the 7-year war. Okay, so there's multiple things that is 1,260, and 1,260 years would place perfectly in the Renaissance age. And we're told that these paintings were just painted by mere mortals. And when you actually look at each separate painting, they're so detailed that this would not physically be possible for a human to do in 4 years, especially standing up, working on the canvas. You can see that this right here is detailing the brain, okay? So this was obviously some heavenly art. And we know that this was heavenly art because all this art is depicting Jesus, is talking about a time of peace and reign. And I believe these were actually painted during 1,000 years of Jesus. And then when the devil was released, he had to make up a story to hide it. And if Leonardo da Vinci was truly Lucifer, because Lucifer is the light bringer, the enlightenment person, okay, so was Leonardo da Vinci. He was supposedly drawing helicopters and tanks for 100 years before they were ever made. And if this was truly Lucifer, could it be that Lucifer lost his wings and now he wants to fly? Because obviously this was not supposed to be knowledge that you were supposed to have in the Renaissance age, which was just right after the Dark Ages. He was literally drawing tanks, and they work really well. So obviously this was a light bringer. And in the 1300s was when the Black Deed came out. I'm not trying to say the full thing and get censored, but that literally killed 50% of the population. And then global wars lasted 100 years right before that. And not only was there a 50% population death, but there was also a mini ice age, which ruined everybody's crops and food and, made everything harder to survive. And during this time, this man right here made a book about these geniuses and people who were architects and scientists, right? And guess who he was founded by? This family. I'm not trying to say their name, but they are literally Luciferians. So it is very obvious that if they're funding these things, it is because they want a certain narrative to be out. Why would a banking family be pushing out a narrative if it's not a bad one? And we saw the Byzantine Empire fully fall in the 1400s, but right before then, the Crusaders attacked Constantinople and basically made it fall, and it was never the same again. And when you look up who the Crusaders were fighting for, it was for the Roman Pope, okay? Because that was the false prophet system. And the Constantinople was the Roman Empire turning from the beast system to the 1,000 years of Jesus. Because in Romans, we literally see that Rome is turning back to Christ. And the same thing happened again in Russia with the Romanovs. They literally said that they were descendants of the Byzantine Empire. And what happened? They were killed. They were murdered just like the Byzantine Empire, because it is the same story again. The inheritance of the 1,000 years of Jesus was the Byzantine Empire. Then it turned into the Russian people, and we know who killed them. It was those people with those hats, okay? So it's very clear that our whole timeline has been changed. The 1,000 years of Jesus ended around the 1300s, and that is when the devil was released. And if
I don't doubt our timeline has changed, but I'm still trying to grasp the fact of the 1,000-year reigns already done happened.
If you think about the specific places the Black Plague mainly was predominantly affecting, it was Europe and Asia. We know that Europe was obviously the descendants of the 1,000 years of Jesus. They were in the 1,000 years of Jesus. And then we know Asia was Tartaria, and we know Tartaria was also in the 1,000 years of Jesus. And then we see Tierra de Isu, which stands for Land of Jesus. So obviously these maps that are from the Renaissance age are literally telling us what was happening, the 1,000 years of Jesus, and then they had to take everything off. They had to change the 1,000 years of Jesus to the Dark Ages, then the Renaissance age. We're told that these people decided to build like Romans for no reason, while dumb people in those times had no idea what Rome actually looked like, because Rome was buried. And us today in the United States and all over the world have Roman architecture. So why isn't this a Renaissance age? It's because Rome was buried by the second coming of Christ, and they needed a reason to explain the Byzantine Empire becoming 1,000 years of Jesus. So they just had to say it was the Renaissance age where people felt like building Roman stuff again. But these people genuinely had no idea what these buildings would even look like. The Renaissance age was not real and was made to hide 1,000 years of Jesus.
There's one last dragon. There is one Geodora. It's from space. He's an alien that came down here to fight, and then he got frozen, and they're saying it's because of the ice age. And so that's why they're like so upset about global warming, because they know if that dragon thaws out, because what happens in the Bible? A dragon thaws out, and he takes over the world. What happens in every single culture? There's dragons on every single civilization on this planet has a picture of a dragon.
So you're saying Republicans want to melt the ice to release the dragon?
Yes, because they're lizards.
Whoa.
That's why they don't want us remaking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's why they keep trying to put out this propaganda about Jurassic Park. They're all going to eat us, but no, they helped us fight them, the Bigfoots, the Yetis. Like we all got together. We all spoke one language. You think I'm crazy? You think I'm lying?
No, I agree with you.
There are pyramids that go directly in Egypt that line up with Orion's belt, right?
Yes.
Orion's belt. They line up with Orion's belt, which is a white dwarf, which is made out of diamonds. And you need diamond and gold to travel in space, right? So interdimensional travel, they will put a diamond in there to go up there. So I think the fight happened where they broke the trace, because if you think about Orion's belt, who is Orion the hunter? Who's Orion Hunter fight? The bull. But if you really take a good drawing of the bull that has a red eye, it looks like a dragon. Instead, they just drew it like a Taurus to say like, oh, this is Taurus, but it's a dragon. Orion was fighting the dragon with his two dogs, but I think there were actually dinosaurs that beat the dragon, and that's why they don't have interdimensional travel. But if you think, even if you line up when the Anunnaki were supposed to be on this planet, if you line up when the Anunnaki supposed to be on the planet, and you Google the distance it takes to get light years away, it's the exact same time. They only came here for gold, because gold is the only metal that does not do
but what do they need the gold for?
To build the satellite. That's why we use gold for everything. That's why gold will never have a standard. That's why there's no more gold that can ever be made. They go to planets and they try to have this dimensional travel, but then the dragon came over from the red giant, Canis Major, flew over to there, came down to America with these octopus and raccoons and a dragon, and they tried to take us over. But with the dinosaurs' help,
you're saying we need the dinosaurs.
We need them.
So we need Jurassic Park.
That's what I'm saying. We need Jurassic Park.
No.
The Democrats know.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? But they try to keep us
me
up.
autistic for liking dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Even though they're our best friends.
Yes. Why do autistic kids already know to love dinosaurs? People have to tell you not to like dinosaurs. They have to make a horror movie out of it.
They tell me every day, and you know what I say? You.
Yeah, show me a horror movie with a dragon in it. What do we use dinosaurs for right now? Gasoline. Why are we in war in the Middle East?
Gasoline.
Because they know if we dig up the remains and we find out what happens. That's why you can't go to the pyramids, because they know how to decipher the hieroglyphics. They don't want to tell us that it's all about this dragon. Meanwhile, they're trying to heat up the planet, burning the fossil fuels, which are dinosaurs, to heat up the planet.
To let the dragon go.
So the dragon can rule us, because they're the lizard people and they worship the dragon.
My whole life changed today.
Yeah, good.
I'm glad I came on this religious podcast.
Our God is an awesome
God. He reigns. There's one last dragon. There is one Geodora. It's from space. He's an alien that came down here to fight, and then he got frozen.
Somebody said I have one question. What strain? That's terrible. That's all we got for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button down in the comments below. The code word for today, the code word is Jim Carrey. Go ahead and drop Jim Carrey in the comments below. When you do that, it lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video. You really rock with your boy. And I just want to say thank you for your support, and it means the world to me. This was the most mysterious footage on the internet today. I'm Jet Ski Chuck. See you later.